Good day, everyone. On today's how-to, I'm going to go through a Cribl Outpost setup. This is a little bit more manual right now, as this is still a preview release of Outpost, so I do expect some changes. But for now, this is the process you would use to manually download and then configure an Outpost. Going through the doc here, you'll notice it is pretty straightforward. We download our package and copy it to our VM from the downloads page, do an untar to get it into our install directory. In our case, it'll be under opt. And then we run this simple Cribl configuration command to get the basic setup, enable the systemd service, and then start things. I'm also going to go through changing an existing worker to connect to an outpost as well. We'll discuss that a little bit. Since I do have one here that is currently connected straight to the cloud, and it's a pretty simple process here to get that done. So for the download, you would come here to Cribl.io downloads, select your package for the appropriate infrastructure. In my case, it's the x64, and you want the 415 here currently, which is the latest. So with that, I have two VMs here. This top one is my outpost, the bottom one is my worker. And here I'm in my home Cribl directory where I do have this install package. So first one is to unpack it. And we use the -c to tell it we want it under opt. In my case, I also need sudo. Now when we go to opt, we will see our Cribl directory, still owned by root. So our next step here would be a chown with our user and group and opt Cribl. And this one as well will need sudo. And now we see it's owned by our proper Cribl user. So before I go through the config step here, you will notice this Cribl certs directory. In order for the TLS to work here, we do need to give it a cert. If you have one, you can use that. If you need to create one, I'll show you the command. But you will notice here in this output listener that it is this kind of TLS item here where we do pass it a cert path and a private key path, and if necessary, a CA path. So there's a bit more details on that if you go through the TLS defaults here, but otherwise, those are the basics. So for those certs, to create mine, I just used a simple RSA command or OpenSSL command to create a simple RSA cert. So here is mine, just OpenSSL for a new X509, RSA 2048, and then giving it the output files for our key out and our certificate as well. So outpost-key and outpost-cert, 420-day expiration, and here is my basic subject. So since I've already created those, I won't create them again, but that was the command that I used for that step in case you need to create your own certs. With that, let's go into the Cribl bin directory, because for the configuration, you will notice here it is very similar to an Edge or Worker install. In particular, these three environment variables or variables here, -h, -p, and -u, I can actually steal from that one. So we're going to kind of come over here and do an update action, going to CLI. And in this case here, I'm basically going to copy everything from the beginning, and we're going to paste that over here. So the first change, instead of mode worker, we want that to be mode outpost. But otherwise, these next three can remain as is. The last two here were a -s, which enables the TLS when set to 1, and the -o with our output listener syntax here. So I'm just going to copy what I had for my output listener real quick, and we'll come back over here. So our -s1, -o, and this command. And here you can set the listener to just 0000. In my case, I have a couple of interfaces, so I do want to bind it to one specific one, which will be this IP here. Otherwise, you'll notice just our port 4200, TLS cert path to our outpost cert.pem, the private key path to the outpost-key.pem, and that's it for mine. Because I am running this as the Cribl user and Cribl here is owned by the Cribl user, I don't need sudo for this one. And we'll see here the output listener was configured and the output mode, or outpost mode rather, was configured successfully as well. So our next step would be enabling the systemd service. And if we didn't change anything from our defaults, we can just run this as is. And then lastly, just turn on that service. So sudo systemctl start cribl-outpost. And then over here in our outpost, we should now see a new one show up. And there we go. And if we check the logs, we'll also see that it was able to connect. So tail cribl log, cribl.log. Oh, let's get a few more lines. There we go. So starting the Cribl service, attempting to connect, did resolve the DNS address and was able to connect and make that server connection. You'll see here to our cloud leader. So that's really it for the Outpost setup itself. At this point, Outpost is up and running, currently using the current version. If we did need to do an upgrade, we can either select one or more from this UI, the checkbox, and click Upgrade Selected, or we can click the GUID for any one of them, and you'll see an upgrade button here as well. You'll also notice on this panel some logs, diagnostics, and other system information. So next, using your Outpost, we would want to connect an existing worker or edge node to that one. So there's a few different ways you can do that. If you're using environment variables, just change the one variable over to this dist master right URL. You'll notice right now it's set up with my cloud host name, but we can tell it to use my Outpost instead. And so it would change the environment variable, or we can also just use the CLI update command here as well. This case will also try to restart the service for us. If you are going to use this approach, just make sure you've set your worker group, the user, etc. here appropriately, so you don't change those on a given worker. Alternatively, if you want to change it a little bit more directly, that's just under your install directory, in my case, opt Cribl, and then local _ system. And there's this instance.yaml file, which has your settings. And you can also just go in here and change this host item directly to the address of your Outpost. If the port's the same, because it's using the leader auth token, this wouldn't change. We would want TLS enabled, so make sure that is turned on if it's not already. And otherwise, really nothing else needs to be changed here. So if you do want to change it more directly, you can go that route and just save that file. For ours here today, we are going to go ahead and use this one here. We did change that one. This is the proper worker group. And while the service is managed by systemd, this Cribl restart will at least stop it, and systemd will restart it for us. Monitoring over here on our workers, we will be able to see this default hybrid get disconnected and then get reconnected here. So we see the disconnection happened. It's no longer online. And while that's working, opt Cribl log, cribl.log. We can look at those as well, and here it is restarting that service. And we will see here a little bit easier if we make that a bit wider. Attempting to connect, and now you'll see this was our local address, and then connecting and connected. So it was able to connect to that local address and reach our cloud leader here. And now if we check our UI again, this node should now be back up as we would expect, and now connected through our Outpost. Lastly, if we just want to verify that that is connected through the Outpost, you can quickly just stop the Outpost service on this one. And we'll start to see some connection errors down here on our worker. And that will just confirm as well that it definitely is going through that system and not directly to the cloud in some way. Because now we have a connection error, trying to connect, connection error, right? This will retry, and it will continue in this cycle because it's not able to connect to that system. Bringing that back up. And once again, we should see it disconnected here from the UI. And now that it's back up and running, it should resolve those connection errors on its next retry here. And there we go, attempting to connect, connecting, and once again connected. And sending is unblocked as we would expect. So that connection has now been restored. And we can see our worker now is back up and running here. So that's pretty simply how you would do an Outpost install and how you would change an existing node to now connect through it. Finally here, just because I happen to need an upgrade on my worker group anyway, we can also show that the traffic to at least kind of trigger that upgrade process will still occur. So if we go over and tell this worker group to update, and currently at 14, let's set you to 415. We can see even connecting through that node, it's now verifying the install, creating the backup, doing all the steps we would expect when an upgrade has been triggered. And then we'll see after this backup is completed, it will complete the upgrade and restart the service for us. There we go, starting the shutdown. And now it's connected and brought itself back up. And over here, we should now see in our workers that it is back up and running, and it is now at 415. So we could also do a commit and deploy just to verify that the config bundles can also be downloaded. But if the upgrade's going to work as part of that flow, very similar for the commit and deploy, so I'm not going to bother showing that here today. Hope that was helpful on how to set up a basic Outpost node. You can see it's very straightforward. And then as well, how you can go ahead and change your workers or your edge nodes to now connect through it and what you would see here in the UI. Hope that was helpful. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out anytime. Thank you very much and have a great day.